kids.
Halloween costume?
Mm-hmm.
Say that.
I bought all my kids.
I'm a Delta stewardess.
Yeah. She's a flight attendant.
I can't remember. Is it flight attendant or stewardess?
It's
Flight attendant. You old masculine.
Stewardess is old.
Masculine toxic. What is it?
Yeah, see, it don't exist.
Toxic
Can't
masculinity.
pronounce it. Toxicity.
Toxicity. I don't believe in I don't believe in all
You
that.
don't believe in
I don't believe in masculinity.
No, I do believe
My
in
husband is
masculinity.
not masculine.
No, I believe in masculinity.
He
I
is
believe in
feminine.
Toxic.
I'm sorry, I don't believe in
masculinity.
feminine either.
I mean,
Welcome to another episode of Diva Court. I am your host, Marcia Mignot, and with me is my co-diva with a disclaimer.
What up, though? It's Dana in the building.
That would be Smith. Thank you very much. And today, my co-diva is already wearing her Halloween costume. She is doubling as a flight attendant. Those are the exits that she is pointing to while this flight gets ready to leave the ground.
Let's do it.
We are not responsible for the things we're going to say.
Or are we liable about your feelings?
We don't own the rights to anything we're going to talk about.
And we don't believe what Marcia is saying today.
Are you serious?
Yes.
We don't believe what Dana says today.
That's probably true. I'm going to be saying
That's because this show is for edutainment purposes only. Please look for our episodes every Wednesday. Subscribe. Find us on
Spotify.
Google Podcasts,
Google us.
and Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to check out our videos every Wednesday. We push them out on YouTube. Push, where you can see your divas along as hearing them.
Yes.
Don't forget our sponsor, Hey Curl.
Hey, Curl.
HeyCurl.shop.
Yes.
Go on to HeyCurl.shop and make sure you take the survey. Click the link in the description and get your HeyCurl.shop survey completed. We are still offering your DIVAFREE code for any purchases you make on HeyCurl.shop. I love that product. I really do. I'm not trying to be funny. I love that product. Some people sponsor and you really don't use the product, and there are people talking about a product and they really don't use it. It's just a sponsor.
Right.
No, that's not this diva. This diva actually loves the leave-in conditioner.
Yes.
I use it even on this hair. And of course, this is my hair because I bought it.
Well, there's that.
That ends that discussion. All right. MAGA man stops a robbery. Topic number 1,
Yes.
listeners.
He wanted to make America great again! Exclamation point.
What are we talking about? Exclamation point. There's this gentleman who was in a convenience store wearing his MAGA hat after he's purchased all his little items. And he looks and there are 2 masked men coming into the store to
Yes.
rob it with a gun. Of course, the man jumps into action and disarms one of the assailants. The other one, of course, fell on the ground and is crawling out the store as fast as he could, run to safety. And the man is now a hero.
Yes. You could tell that he's a Republican. Outside of the hat.
How did you know that?
Because, the liberals would have ran for safety. They'd been so scared. Oh, my God!
Wow. Are you dissing my liberals,
Yes.
Miss Codiva?
That is correct.
I don't understand why you think liberals are not brave people.
Because they don't stand by their guns and their Bible.
Oh, they stand by that. Well,
They
that
don't stand by their guns and their Bible.
that I cannot disagree with. They're usually not armed. They don't necessarily exercise their Second Amendment rights.
They don't. They want to give all their guns to the
wait.
government.
They said guns are not safe,
Yes.
so we don't need them.
So they definitely not out there, because when you know how to use a gun, you value your Second Amendment right, you probably already know, okay, it's going to take this amount of time to do this. And if he's off guard, he's not going to be able to do this. So, and he was standing so close. So it's like, it's me or you. What we going to do?
Well, you know what? He's a Marine too, so it could be his military training that kicked in
That's
that made him not
probably true.
run. Because he's a Marine and he's like, hey, I need to take care of this because I've been trained on disarming people.
That's probably, what would you have done?
I would have slapped the poop out of him.
Would you slap the gun or would you be slapping?
I'm slapping both because I got to get that weapon from my face to his.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I got to focus on the weapon. I got to focus on
Now, would you, so when we watched the video, I hope they play the video, but when we watched the video, you know, he didn't even give them a chance to even, we didn't even connect eye to eye. He was
Well, you know what the problem was? Even in COVID, you cannot come in with one of those bandanas on your face and a weapon like this. I'm sorry.
Well, you could come in with a bandana on your face. You just can't come with a weapon.
Yeah, you can't have the gun with it. So the gun says it's not Halloween yet, and I'm gonna have to take that weapon from you, sir. I'm sorry. It looks too real.
Yeah.
So I think the problem is when he looked, his peripheral vision
Gun was
picked
there.
up the weapon and the mask that was being worn by both assailants, and I think that just cued him. I mean, convenience store, is usually
just saying,
robbed.
like,
It's very
guns-
dangerous.
I guess, like when my daughter, she tried to touch my face, and my automatic response is,
Yeah.
what's up?
Knee jerk.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
get your hands off her face. But if
He
it's
did. He did. He had a knee jerk reaction because when he glanced over, it's like his peripheral was like danger.
The what?
Convenience store, they coming, and he just went for him. And of course, his candy bag was very heavy.
I just think that either I would get into action and go like, wax off, or I would have fell out like,
I think it's more like option 2. You would have just fell out.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Based on her record?
Oh, you such a hater.
Yes.
I'm a spring into action kind of girl. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
spring into
She's
action.
springing to getting beat up.
But
And the convenience store man was like, hey, I'll just give you the money from the cash register. Stop beating her. Stop beating
Please
her.
stop beating her. Please don't beat the
that's
customer.
fine.
Just take the cash.
Please
don't
the
beat up
element
the
of
customer.
surprise is always good. Y'all keep thinking that.
Oh, so you're going to surprise
See,
him
I'm
by
already
passing out?
taking off my
Oh, he's
earrings.
going to be surprised, all right, when you pass out. He's going to say, oh, my God, I've never robbed anybody that
Hold these.
passed out.
Hold these
You
earrings.
want him to put it on the gun? Yeah.
Hold these, sir, while I'm about to whoop and get my Vaseline. Put it on my face. I'm about to
How
whoop
many
that.
bullets, listeners, do you think she would have accepted by then?
Give me all the bullets.
Would the gun be empty or still half empty?
No weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Except for that kind.
No, his aim would be all over the place.
Except for the weapons with bullets in it.
Okay, I can't even put these earrings back on. I'm just gonna let them go.
Yeah, see, that's what you do for taking them
Well,
off. to
one was
fight.
about to fall out, so it just went with the little
Oh, okay. It was convenient.
Yeah,
it was
just-
part of her Halloween
the
skit.
little spiel. It just went with the
It
spiel.
was part of her
you know?
Halloween spiel.
Is the heroism subtracted because the assailant is 14?
No, because he didn't say, "Hey, I'm 14 with a gun." No, he went into action.
Well, it was nice of the MAGA man to ask him, how old are you?
okay.
Because he probably realized I overpowered him so quickly
Yeah.
that this kid's got to be young.
Yeah.
Because a 14-year-old coming into the store to rob him. Now, what race do you think they were?
Black,
You think they were black?
because his pants was sagging.
I think they were white. And the reason I think they were white because he didn't shoot him.
That's not funny. Why we laughing?
I have no idea.
Son, you
We
mean-
can't even drink to that.
No, we cannot.
No, it's not funny, listeners. We're not making light of violence.
No, we're not.
We're really laughing to keep from crying.
Yeah.
That's really what we're doing.
Laugh
Because we
now,
live in a
cry
society.
later. I rhyme greater than the average player hater.
Father.
Shout out to Biggie.
Is it the small?
Yes.
No, okay.
B.I.G. Yeah.
I'm just sad that we live in a society where a 14-year-old thinks that his only option is to rob a convenience store. Why couldn't he just say, "Excuse me, mister, can I have $5? I need to buy some
You think
food."
he was robbing a convenience store for $5?
Well, I mean, the convenience stores usually don't have more than $5 in the drawer anyway, because they usually have a safe where they
You know
store
what?
majority of the
COVID
money.
ruins everything for everyone because now that you're doing, cashless on your phone and Apple Pay and Venmo and Cash App.
Not much cash anywhere.
It's not that much cash. Like it is ruining for criminals everywhere.
I know, doing the robbers dirty.
All
Yeah.
They're gonna have to get an education now.
that,
Figure out how to
That darn
steal
COVID.
digitally.
COVID made me have to get an education and give up stealing.
that darn COVID.
And robbery.
Oh, snap.
Crazy.
I think I had one more question about the incident. Do you think 14-year-olds have the desperation level yet to do those kinds of things? Or was it like, hey, Billy, you think it'd be cool to rob?
You think it was for fun? I don't think that was for fun. I think they're desperate. And I think that another element that people are ignoring is mental health. It's a big game player now.
That's everybody's excuse nowadays. Mental
No,
health.
to be honest with you, we've been ignoring it, especially the black community. Oh, that's a bad word.
Oh, so you think it is a black kid?
No. I'm not saying it's a black kid. I'm just saying that mental health is ignored on a high level. That even if you think about it, think about this case where you have the young man, the Florida shooting, right? Do you remember the young man that just pled guilty? Can't remember his name. It's
Parkland shooter.
Parkland shooter. Look at the Parkland shooter. Everybody who talks about the Parkland shooter after the incident, including teachers and principals and other students, talk about how mentally off he was. What I find surprising is that no one did anything about it. The principal never said to the parent, hey, guess what? Your child is troubled. We are concerned. He cannot return to school. We think he's a threat to the safety of the other children unless he has a mental evaluation and some psychologist or psychiatrist says it's okay for him to come back. We do that if he's got the chicken pox, and we won't do that if he's bouncing his head off the wall in the back of the room. The teacher's just like, could you bounce it a little softer, please? It's disturbing class. Are you serious?
Yeah.
People are ignoring it. We're not getting help for these kids. And let me tell you something. Our generation was a tougher generation. The kids these days, they're soft as pie.
I think
They really are. And I think it's because they're exposed to a lot more crap. When you think about the cell phone and the constant stimulation from YouTube.
I think they got too much freedom.
Not only, but they're getting the freedom because I do cases now, and the first thing a judge will ask is, does the child have a cell phone? If a parent complains about not being able to communicate with the child through the adults, the judges will say, hey, where's the cell phone? Can we just get a cell phone for the kid? How old is the kid? Can we get a cell phone? Oh yeah, elementary
Who's
school.
paying for this cell phone?
No, but that's my point.
I know, like,
is it doesn't
judge
even matter
order.
who's paying for it. Why would you expose an elementary student? Do you know if you don't have a cell phone in elementary school now, you're like an oddball?
Well, my kids are oddball because I wasn't paying for another phone bill.
But see, your problem is not their problem. You're saying, I'm not going to do that. What I'm telling you is you're the minority and not the majority because we're ignoring mental health. So to answer the producer's question, yes, I think a 14-year-old could be desperate enough. They're killing themselves because people say mean things to them on YouTube, mean things to them on social media. They're doing it.
So weak. Like the problem is that this generation's parenting is weak. Like everybody got these feelings. Everybody has to get a trophy. Everybody has to
You're
feel.
a parent in this generation.
Say it again.
You're a parent in this.
You're a
Oh, my,
parent of this
oh
generation.
yeah, but I get mine together. But what I'm talking about, mine get together. I don't play that weak stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like when your ancestors were slaves and they had to suffer and endure so much. You're not about to sit here and cry about somebody hurting your feelings. Like my ancestors had to walk from Georgia all the way up to Canada. Like we gonna talk about your feelings and we're gonna process this information, but we're not gonna kill ourselves because
So you teaching your children to put things into perspective.
Exactly.
And understand what's important and what's not important.
like when my child get into this hysteria, I'm like, no, we're not about to do this. What's going on? Let's talk about it, and
Use your words.
use your words. I don't understand this crying language. Well, let me tell you what Zion did the other day. So I've been telling Zion to clean the kitchen. Her duty has been to clean the kitchen. She ain't cleaned the kitchen since September. So I say, all right, because they were doing every other month, you got October. So, she'll go in, maybe she'll do it this day, half do it, 2 weeks later, like not do it. To the fact that Dior came down and put some dishes in it on a date. I guess she decided she was gonna clean this kitchen. She runs upstairs to me. Face is just torn up, just emotionally out of control. And I'm like, hey. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Because it was so much emotion that I had to get to the point. Like, are you injured? Like, did somebody
You thought
hurt
something
you?
was seriously wrong.
Yeah. And she was like, no. And I was like, all right, calm down. You're not hurt. You're okay. And she's like, I'm not hurt. I said, all right, well, tell me what's going on, because I already know it's something crazy. And she's like, Dior, she brings the dishes down and she puts them on this counter. And I said, she did what? I'm washing the dishes and she put them on the counter. I said, oh, and so what do you want me to do? Are you upset about this? And she was like, that's what she wants, the death penalty, right? She was like, I said, wait. So how do you know these dishes are any different from the dishes that you left the week before? like, hold on, wait. So you're mad that she brought dishes down, but you didn't wash the dishes yesterday. So if you didn't wash the dishes today, you wouldn't even know that these dishes was on, would you? No. I said, wait. So you fussy, what do you want? You want her to be disciplined? Yes. And I said, oh, okay. So because I asked you to wash the dishes yesterday and you didn't do it, should you be disciplined?
She was like, no. What kind of justice is this?
So, and then the day before. Now let's bring this into reality because there's two things we need to address. You are very smart. You're like one of the smartest people that has the potential to be very great. Like, so you can either make decisions off of logic or emotion, right? And when you're making a logical decision, you think about it and you make a plan and you execute. But with this emotion, you do things like this. Does this even make sense that you want me to discipline your sister, but I just had this conversation with you yesterday and you don't think that you should be disciplined? So as I turned this story on her, she just pulled all her emotions together. And I told her, I don't want to hear no more of this weakness,
Well, that's good. You got a good story.
Like, I can't.
But see,
that.
But the point is, you are doing that. You're the minority. I hate to break it to you. You're the minority. Okay? And what happens is that gets perpetuated and it turns into
anxiety.
Other stuff, and it turns into anxiety, and then it turns into schizophrenia, and then it turns into depression, and then it turns into medication. And now you have somebody on medication in the elementary school because parents are not saying, hey, this is not how we deal with conflict. This is not how we deal with things that are not critical. Because it's not critical that her sister put something on the counter. But I'm saying that 14-year-olds, like these young men that was trying to rob the store, are distraught enough that they think this is the only option I have.
Unless they thought it was just for fun.
Unless they thought it was just for fun.
Maybe that's why.
Now they know it's not funny anymore.
To the parents thing, do you think, all right, so you've heard the phrase hurt people hurt people. Do bad parents create bad parents?
Do bad parents create bad parents? I mean, I think that is a possibility. I think that if you don't have coping skills, if you can't identify that things are problems within your own parenting, there are things that my parents done that I don't think were so great. And because I know those things, I try not to do those things. There are things that I think that they do that were great, But, if you don't address the problems that you had growing up or the parenting things that you thought weren't good, then you'll just reproduce the same scenario.
So how you break the cycle?
Like, for example, my mom was very lovely. Like, she was so nice and so sweet. But the thing that she didn't do is she didn't dig deep enough. You know what I'm saying?
So she surfaced stuff.
She surfaced things in a sense of, she told us to get it together. But how I broke it down to Zion.
Right.
And maybe
None of that
she did.
detail.
Maybe she did. I don't remember it. But how I broke it down, like relationship with my sister and I, it was just, you guys should love each other and get along and don't treat each other like that because you're sisters. Instead of, you sit here, you know,
Right.
and just
ironing out the kinks.
let's iron it out.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
you guys are sisters. You should love each other. And
that was it.
and
Well,
that
you
was
know,
it.
parents used to say things like, do it because I say so.
Yeah.
And now you have to explain why you say so.
And you know what? She explained more than most parents. I'm not even going to take that away from her. I just think that she just, because she was a single mom, she just probably didn't have the foresight to go in deeper, because then you have girls who, oh, we're getting along. We're getting along.
What if she didn't know how?
And maybe she didn't know how.
Maybe she was doing what she was taught. Just say you're girls and you should love each other, because that's what she was told.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that, you know, she wasn't around. She was at work, so she wasn't around to see all of the bickering and the thing. And although me and my sister were really close, we didn't never want to get each other in trouble. So
Stuff was happening, mom didn't know that.
yeah, so it's like, you know, she didn't know that we was really fighting. Like when I see my girls just like, me and my sister like fought. When I see my daughters just playing like they're fighting, or I'm like, we're not about to do this. Like, you know, I kind of sit them down, like, let's talk about your feelings. Let's talk about your feelings. You shouldn't even be feeling this way because you're the one who started the problem in the first place. Like, you can't.
But that's good. You're teaching them how to resolve conflict.
Yeah.
Which is excellent. That's what we need.
Yeah.
But we are raising a generation of technological influences that's occurring, where it's just 24-hour stimulation. Remember one time television used to go off. Now it doesn't. And now we have 3 trillion channels and stuff is on your phone. And I mean, who'd have thought you'd be living in a time where the TV is on your cell phone?
And I'm not saying that therapy is not effective, but if the therapy is, let me hear your problems and give you this medicine, you know,
that's not necessarily the solution, especially for small things, such as just teaching you life skills.
I got coworkers who, oh my gosh, they call in for a mental health day. I got in my car and I just was filled with so much anxiety I couldn't even drive.
For no reason.
And and I'm like,
do you think you could teach your children how to deal with anxiety if you don't know how to deal with anxiety yourself?
Well, I mean, I understand that. Like, but a lot of, so my new train of thought is, our Heavenly Father doesn't give us the spirit of fear. So you make decisions out of love or fear. And out of fear, you have bitterness and doubt and anxiety and things along those lines. So if I'm filled with that, then I know it's not of my Heavenly Father. So I have to realize, like, oh, do I want to do the devil's work and let him take over and make me make bad decisions and fall into these traps? Or do I want to disconnect myself from those feelings and take care of business? Because at the end of the day, I want to walk out on faith. So
well, it's the difference between making an emotional decision and a rational decision. Even if you want to classify your rational decisions as a decision that is Christ-like, or you want to define your bad decision as, you know, your emotional decisions as a decision that is more, you know, devil-like.
Yeah. Well, not even, I feel like I can make an emotional decision out of just love. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't, when I say emotion, I'm just talking about out of just fear or anger, or not. When you're making decisions out of fear and anger, sometimes it's not rational. I mean, sometimes making decisions out of love can be irrational.
Amen.
But I'm just saying, like, letting that cloud your judgment when you're making a decision, and being able to identify that, all right, let's put these feelings aside. Let's make this make sense. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think they're teaching analysis in school anymore. I think I didn't realize that word problems were so important, because it taught you how to look at a huge paragraph of nothing and extrapolate something and answer a question. And because that's multiple choice, here's a question and here's 4, you know, options, pick one. It's kind of like a multiple guess game. And if you guess right, and you think you're smart, but you're not, because you don't know how to analyze. And I think that's what is going on with these kids, why you have a 14-year-old that thinks, I need to put on a mask and go into a convenience store and try to rob it with a gun.
I also think like the pendulum is all the way on the other side, because before it's like, you know, don't have any feelings about anything. You know what I'm saying?
Suppress your feelings.
Just suppress your feelings.
And now it's just everything.
Now it's
feel about everything.
Feel the feelings of the feelings.
Yeah.
And people are like, I have anxiety. Yes! Like they're celebrating it. They're celebrating. it's okay not to be okay. No, it's not okay. It's not okay to not.
It's not okay.
To,
It's not
you can't sit in
okay
that.
to not be okay because I didn't get a piece of candy today. That's just weak.
Right.
And that's not what you want to raise your kids to do.
It's not okay to not be okay, because if you sit in that, the chemistry of your brain starts to change.
It does.
And it's like an addiction. Everything that you overindulge in becomes an addiction. You can start liking to be in a depression and unhappy. People actually like that because sometimes it gives them the attention that
they need.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm not falling into that trap. I'm not gonna let my kids fall into that trap. And I see the trap, and I think a lot of times people with anxiety and depression, and once you get into depression,
it's hard.
It's hard. Now it's at a place where you're gonna have to seek professional help, but you can stop that.
Yeah.
And I know they say, oh, babies, like people, they get they can be born with it, but babies don't
born with depression.
Yeah.
No.
Born with anxiety and stuff like that.
I'm not buying that.
I said, listen,
I believe that 99% of behavior is learned.
It's true. I said the only way a baby could have anxiety is if that baby was in the womb dealing with traumatic situations.
Right. If there's a chemical imbalance, or
or the mom is
or if it's a crack or drugs, or the child, the mom malnutrition,
or mom she's in a bad environment. So I mean, I just remember
no, but if she's in a bad environment, it goes to the child, because remember, the fetus, you can have fetal stress because of the trauma that the mom is suffering while the child is in there. And
I can remember having
medical.
I can remember having just a good time, and if somebody screams, or if I jump like this, the baby like, oh, because they get scared. But if you have that consistently, then yes, maybe that baby comes out with anxiety, but not just coming out the womb and
just automatically.
Oh, I'm anxiety.
Baby said, I'm gonna pay this hospital bill, girl.
I think it's taught. I think you see your parents suffering from anxieties and stress, and that's how you handle problems.
All right. Do we handle problems on the movie set? Because Alec Baldwin is definitely devastated.
Yeah.
We've got a situation where the Rust movie had an accident. Alec Baldwin accidentally shot somebody.
Yeah.
That's sad.
He might have some legal issues.
I don't know, because he says, I'm not responsible for loading the guns. I'm not responsible for making sure that the blanks are blanks. And I'm not responsible for making sure that there's no trajectory or residue left in the weapons from anything. Mm-hmm. So I hear action, and I do what actors do.
Wasn't he the director though?
I think he's one of the producers. I'm not sure if he's one of the directors.
But on set, when there is a prop gun and they yell cold gun. So he was under the information that nothing is supposed to come out. The second thing, I did want to get the lady's name out. I think it's Helena Hutchins, and she was the director of photography for that movie.
Well, Diva court's condolences to her family, because I know it must be devastating to have a job that you think she's working in an industry that she loves, and she's doing what she loves, and she's doing her calling, and to get that phone call that your wife and your mother, because I think she has a child, for her husband to have heard that
somebody about to get
got injured. Well, I don't think Alec is even worried about that. I'm sure the industry has enough insurance for things like that. And I haven't even heard any resistance. I think he would more than happily cut checks from his private bank account.
Yeah.
And not just from any insurance that the movie set had associated with work. But it's just crazy that, it can happen. The sad part is it's not the first time it happened. Brandon Lee and some other actors. I think one was jokingly putting the gun to his head and shot himself because the trajectory came out, and he didn't realize at close range it was still dangerous.
So if you were a zealous, clout-chasing prosecutor, what would you charge?
Negligent homicide.
Okay. Question: can you be what do you say?
A zealous clout-chasing prosecutor.
Clout-chasing attorney. Zealous clout-chasing prosecutor.
Yes.
A zealous clout chasing prosecutor.
What's wrong with that?
I would charge with negligent homicide. But here's the problem you have. You would have to find a general intent crime. A general intent crime means it doesn't matter what he intended to do. He intended to fire blank and something came out of it. And you could charge Alec Baldwin because he's the person who actually pulled the trigger. You could also charge as a co-defendant the person who was responsible for making sure that the weapon was properly
You charge
checked.
racketeering. You like I did
Yes,
that?
I like that R. Kelly charge. Since we started it when I said don't, absolutely. If you're the feds, you can do racketeering for the entire
crew
and
production team
the production team for producing these weapons to the scene as they have done. But yes, that's the problem, is you could go there. I don't think anybody's going to go there. I don't think any criminal charges are going to come up this. It's clear based on everybody's reaction and based on the totality of the circumstances that they're devastated. It sounds like as if they're devastated. I just couldn't imagine being in their shoes thinking you have a blank and pulling the trigger and finding out you've harmed somebody. So, you know, I don't see any criminal charges out of it. Any civil litigation, I'm certain, is not even going to have to be filed because I'm sure that somebody's going to be smart enough to make an offer to the family to resolve it and say, hey, we put in the insurance claim for you.
Were they in Texas?
I don't think so. I think it was New Mexico.
Oh, okay. Because
it
I
was
was
New
saying if
Mexico.
she was pregnant, could they sue for abortion?
Oh, now that would not be a legal abortion because they would have to know that she had one. Remember, Texas statute said you know of somebody who had an abortion and then you sued them. So yeah, I just can't imagine dealing with that. But the Chicago police officers are leaving the police force, listeners, because they have decided they don't even want to say whether or not they've been vaccinated.
I don't think they should be forced.
They're not complaining that they are being forced to get vaccinated. Their complaint is that they should not have to tell the employer if they're vaccinated.
Right. I don't think you should have to tell your employer if you're vaccinated.
I think you should. Just like how you have to tell that school that your child has a meningitis shot when you're trying to.
They not ask. Listen, if they
you didn't tell anybody in college whether you had the meningitis
this is
shot?
not even. Is it really even
I'm
a
asking you a
vaccination
question.
or is it a
Shouldn't
shot? It's not even a
education-
vaccination. We're
Shouldn't-
putting this word vaccination on it, but vaccination is to inoculate, correct?
Should
Compared
education-
to
it's a vaccine.
it's a shot. It's not a vaccination.
Oh, it's not a vaccine?
Yeah.
No,
What's your
you're-
definition of a
you're
vaccine?
discussing
The flu
a,
shot.
a cure. Like
No,
it's
no,
a
no.
flu vaccine. It's
No, I thought they said it's a flu shot.
No, you're discussing something that's like something that inoculates isn't like an inoculating. It's a cure. You give it the specific thing, but a vaccination is just something that will boost immunity.
Okay. I don't think you. Shouldn't have to tell you whether.
So
or not.
why are you okay with telling the college so that you can get an education?
Because the COVID vaccination is different than the chicken pox.
How about because
Vaccination.
nobody politicized it and there was no kofifi to tell you that you should have a problem with telling the school that you've had the
How about nobody
meningitis
rushed
vaccine?
it though?
See what I'm saying?
They
How about
rushed
you
it.
don't know how rushed it was? How about you don't know how long it took to make it?
I know because
But
Fauci
you're
was working on it in Wuhan, China.
Hey, and it's the same Fauci that you trusted then.
I didn't trust Fauci.
Him now. You took that vaccine.
What?
Did you go to college dorm? Did you stay in a college dorm?
Did I stay in a college dorm?
Uh-huh.
I did. I already
Okay.
had them vaccinations
So
prior to.
that's my
Them
point.
vaccinations been out for a long time.
Like I said,
They loved me long
how
time.
do you know that the technology back then is worse than the technology now?
It's
and
a
that it
whole
wasn't a good
different
one?
type of vaccination. It's a RNA vaccination compared
So
to
is
the
that your
old school.
excuse that I
So
trusted
Johnson
it back
and Johnson, just FYI, isn't the same as those
According to Dave Chappelle, that's the.
then? Oh my God, Dave Chappelle is now a medical. Dave Chappelle.
Wait, that was the what is
Dave
what did he say?
Give me the worst
niggerish
one.
vaccination.
Give me the worst one. Give me the least effective one that y'all got. That's the one you wanted.
No, I didn't take that. Johnson and Johnson had a lot. They couldn't get baby powder together. Why am I going to trust them to do a
No.
vaccination?
They had it together. They just didn't know where you couldn't put it.
Where do we put every mom put
Powder
baby
your-
powder on the butt?
Powder your car.
No, that's fine. No, you're that's a good
no,
place. Just don't
Q-tips.
put it anywhere closer.
Yeah. That's keep it on your butt.
For your little girls, just
I know, but you know, the diaper poof poof, and then you put.
yeah, you got to be more accurate. They're gonna send
See,
you
that's the
nozzles.
problem.
Yeah,
They're gonna send
yeah.
you
But-
little-
and-
They said you
Like I
didn't
said-
follow the instructions.
Yeah, that's
On
why
the
I
container.
don't.
The instructions on the back of it.
On the baby powder.
Well,
Could you read the back of your baby powder, please, listeners? Read the back of the
Don't
baby
use-
powder. Read
don't
the
use
instructions. You know what?
Johnson
As humans, we
Johnson.
don't like to read instructions anymore.
it's not even.
Let the truth be told.
No.
Have you ever purchased something and you try to assemble
like-
it without reading?
It's
And then
like,
you go,
it's
okay,
like
well, let me
making
get the
pancakes.
instructions.
You don't read the directions. Like you've been taught how to do it from passed down generation.
That's why your
generation.
pancakes so soggy.
No, my pancakes taste good. My pancakes. I have improved that formula.
I read it every time.
Then
That's what engineering has taught me.
to read
Anything
the
that you do,
pancakes
You gotta
ingredients.
you've
Yeah.
got to read it every time you do it.
So
Because
did you
what happens?
know? Did you know that baby powder caused cancer?
Yes, after I saw that big check.
Okay. But not before that. But not
I
before
mean,
that.
I had baby powder and it just didn't affect me because I didn't
goodness.
have the correct parts.
I think we all had baby powder.
Right.
But thank God our parents didn't use too much.
or it just didn't happen.
because we-
It just-
maybe
that's
because
true.
economically-
And you know
the
what?
dice number didn't
they
roll
could
your
have changed
direction.
the formula. Because over the years, people will change the formula and try to find least expensive ways to push the product out so they can make more profit margin. Remember, we're so greedy now that capitalism has got us. If we're not making 300%, we're not rolling over in the morning. Have you watched Shark Tank lately? Every time you look at Shark Tank, remember that show used to be about inventions and how you'd come on there
Now it's
about an
like-
idea. Now it's about how much have you sold?
Yeah.
Because if you haven't sold anything yet,
We
you
ain't
can get off
messing
this
with you.
stage. We're not
Yeah.
fooling with you.
Yeah. When they first came out, it was.
Yeah.
Let me see your prototype.
Yes. Now
Now it's like.
let me see your checkbook.
Let me see your marketing plan that has already been successful.
let me see your sales.
Yeah.
How many have
To
you
me,
sold?
I think even in season 1, it was there. It just becomes more apparent when you repeat it every time, and you're like, "Oh wow, these people don't ever invent anything. All they do is take a product that's
Yeah,
successful
That's already successful.
and just
jump
blow
on
it up with jumpstart it with
They
money."
just jump on it. They push money on it and push it out
Yeah.
because it's getting it to more people
Yeah.
faster, and that's what they
And
do.
quite as is cat, if they like your personality, if they think they can work with you, and you ain't gotta have the
No,
greatest.
the
sales.
numbers still got to be.
No, the
decent.
numbers got to be there.
They
They're always
gotta-
asking about
the
sales.
numbers got to be. They love
What
you.
are
They
your
say, "Hey,
sales?"
Billy, you are the best
Yeah,
ever."
kudos for you.
But
Clap,
that
clap, clap.
third quarter we saw that you just told us about.
Yeah, how much did you make? Ooh, all of a sudden they're no longer interested. Even sometimes when the product's really creative, I'll see the air go out the room when the person starts talking about the numbers. So how many have you sold? Well, we sold 50,000. Whoa. How long have you been doing this? Take it out in the barn and shoot it. That's what Mr. Wonderful would tell you. Shoot it, because that's a hobby. That is not
What were
a
we talking about?
business.
What were we talking about?
You were
The
talking
Chicago
about
police
cops.
Oh,
that want to
disclosing
quit
their
just because they don't want to tell somebody
yes,
if they
they
were.
shouldn't have to tell.
I think that's ridiculous.
Don't ask
And
them
in
to.
fact, guess what? If cops are dying at a higher rate from COVID than bullets, they need to tell. That's sad. When your career, the dangers of your career is not the reason you're passing.
when you're not vaccinated and people treat you differently because you're not vaccinated. And what I'm saying, like, you know, they're a little bit
Let me
more
ask you a
hostile
question. Would you
towards
treat somebody differently if you thought they had AIDS?
No, because I
That was
wouldn't be
picked up
sleeping
in
with
the
them.
mic, sir.
I wouldn't be sleeping with them.
No.
Why wouldn't you be sleeping? Because you found out they have AIDS.
No, wait.
married?
1984. 1988.
I was
You heard somebody had
I don't
AIDS.
even want to
You treat
drink
them
from your
different?
glass. I don't want you near my children. I don't even want
Right.
you in the room because I don't know enough about that disease to say you can be close to us. Of course, people are treated differently. COVID is just as new as AIDS was back then.
Right.
So that's why people would treat you differently if they think you're not vaccinated. Because
Right. So they don't want to be treated differently. So
That's
No,
understood,
you
but
have
they
to
had
be
a
treated
decision to
differently
make
because
about
your
do you have
decision
to-
then.
wait,
your decision.
why do you
is-
have to be treated differently if
Because we're in a
you
pandemic,
don't have-
and your knowledge of what's going on with you could affect somebody else's life.
Okay, how is it that if you're vaccinated, you're not vaccinated, what are you going to do differently?
The issue is that
No.
The spread.
Not the issue.
The
What are
spread.
you?
No.
You don't have COVID.
The spread.
You're vaccinated. You don't have COVID. What are you going to do differently?
so the issue is once again, the separations actually save the unvaccinated people's lives.
It does.
Okay,
In
but
reality.
I'm asking you because you're not answering my question. You're vaccinated.
Yes.
She's not.
Yes.
She doesn't have COVID. What are you going to do differently? What are you going to do differently?
No, so I'm explaining why the distinction has to be made, right?
No, I understand.
Because someone is
what
vaccinated.
actions
No,
are
no,
you going to do
I'm
differently?
giving you this. Because someone's vaccinated, because we discussed this, there was a flip. Before a vaccine, it's everybody put on a mask and stay still.
6 feet.
And anybody who's going out there not wearing masks or doing anything
Running a risk.
is running a risk.
Reckless.
Once the vaccine comes, the table shifts because the table shifts back to it's time to get back to normal life. And the way to get back to normal life is if you're vaccinated, you go out there and you can get back to normal life because you're not going to bog down our healthcare system. So if you choose to be unvaccinated, right, the reason why I want to know is I want to put you in a group of unvaccinated people, hoping that they would be just as aware or as safe as they want to be because they know they're unvaccinated and they prefer to stay that way.
But you still didn't answer my question. Her being unvaccinated, how does it affect you?
No, you're looking at it the wrong direction. Again, I'm saying
How you tell me my question is in the wrong direction?
The perspective is incorrect. It's not about what I'm going to do. It's about making sure I protect her.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what vaccinated. They're trying to protect. That's not what they're saying. The thing is that her being unvaccinated does not affect you.
No, but
No, it does.
No, but it affects.
How?
It does.
No.
Not like that. Not individually, Miguel.
What I'm saying is I have to do more workload if I get her sick.
If she has the COVID vaccination, you can still get her sick.
Yes, but it's not going to be hospitalized
Right.
12 days, 14 weeks out.
There's people who are not hospitalized that long, or even hospitalized that don't have the
Yeah, but
vaccination.
you're
That's
talking
less.
about a range of people.
Yeah,
Now you're
that's
pointing out
less.
oddballs out of the thing. The problem is if you have someone who's out and unvaccinated, that's 2 weeks that they got to be out.
You're affecting the economy
You're
too.
not the economy.
if you're
just
vaccinated-
affecting
You're affecting
my
a
work.
lot.
If you're
You're affecting
vaccinated,
a
You
lot.
said, how does her being unvaccinated?
it still
I
doesn't
have to
make
work her
sense.
shift.
Yeah.
No, if you are vaccinated,
Yes.
you're wearing your mask, right?
I mean, that's my personal choice. But everyone who's out here getting vaccinated, because we're trying to shift back to an unmasked world, everyone who's unvaccinated is going to start leaning towards not wearing masks again. That's the
Right.
trajectory that we're supposed to get back to, because that's how the world used to work.
Right.
And because those people are going back, they're saying, I did the responsible, in their head,
I shouldn't have
I
to
did the
wear a mask.
responsible thing, which is took a vaccine, did all these things. I won't affect the system, the healthcare system. I'm going to take my mask off.
But that's
Forget anything
that's
that you
just
do.
speculation, because you can have COVID and be vaccinated and pass it to someone else who is vaccinated, and they can still have the same exact effect with the vaccination. It does. So
But
you
we're
can't.
doing
so we're
extremes
just
again.
assuming.
But
no,
you're pushing
we're not.
me to extremes. The most likely person to still have the percentage of someone getting seriously ill unvaccinated
They
and
have
getting
numbers on
ill
that. There's numbers
vaccinated,
on that.
those long distance, is higher for the unvaccinated. The probability is higher for the unvaccinated than the vaccinated. That's
It still
numbers
doesn't
prove
answer
that.
the question. What does me telling you that I'm unvaccinated? How
I
is that?
group you
Okay,
Right.
so you gonna group me how?
with unvaccinated people.
So then
because
we
both of
still
y'all are
all
gonna be
get sick,
serious.
and then you still have to come in and still
why
check
would
on our
you-
duties.
No, what I'm saying is, what I'm grouping you for is, if
reduce
all of
the
you
likelihood.
know that y'all are unvaccinated, I would hope that all of y'all take it seriously.
So
I'm not gonna force you to get
so it still does,
vaccinated.
so again, it does not make sense, because you're just saying I will hope. If all these people are unvaccinated that you're aware of, and they're grouped together, and somebody gets sick in this group and other people get sick, you still gonna have to work their shift. So it still doesn't matter.
No, but what I'm doing is I'm reducing the probability. You're always looking at 100% success rate.
How
And
are
I'm
you
telling
reducing the
It's
probability?
not going to be.
How are
100
you reducing the
Because I'm
probability?
putting you
Because
with
the numbers
people
are
who
there.
are also unvaccinated. I'm trying to get y'all safe. The person who's going to be at risk, like you say now, who would spread COVID to someone, is someone who's out and about and thought they had has the vaccine and is like,
they're
I'm done
good.
wearing a mask.
I'm good.
Okay, but usually when you explain things to me, it makes sense, and in none of this conversation does it make sense because. Go ahead, Mario. Your turn.
So what they're trying to do is by grouping you, we actually know who's at risk, and we can then approach them and fix the issue immediately. Because a lot
What does
of what
fix the issue
happens,
mean?
fix the issue is get you the medical care now before we wait until you become a
And
long
stop
older.
the spread.
So you're telling me that the police department is going to get them the
if I know
medical
that
care?
you're unvaccinated, now I can understand. I can pinpoint on who I can focus on by saying I can get you the medical care. If anything happens to you, I know who to go to. Somebody got COVID. Okay, shoot. Check our list. See who's on the unvaccinated list.
That's assuming that you can't see. It would make so much sense. What you guys are arguing would make so much sense is if you got the vaccination and could not get COVID. That makes sense. But to say you're gonna still have to do that with the COVID group. If the COVID group, if somebody gets COVID, you're gonna have to do whatever
No,
process
you
you're gonna
won't
still
have to
do
do
with
2
them.
weeks anymore because they're going back to a COVID group. Like what I'm saying is you're delayed. Of course, everyone's gonna get sick. There's gonna be sick days used. That's what everybody's work is. It's the length of time for the sick days that is the issue. It's not that I have to cover the shift. It's that we all have to cover these
Right,
shifts
but
for everybody.
the thing
who's out.
is, you're not necessarily sick for 14 days. They say the span could be
yeah,
up
but
to 14 days.
I'm putting you back in an unvaccinated group.
And then if you get COVID, no matter who you are, you have to get tested, and until you test negative.
No, if you
come back.
already have a vaccine, they've told you that the wait time is less.
Your wait time is cut off once you test negative. You can't go back to work with COVID.
Yeah.
Right. So it just depends on your individual body.
You're also missing another point. I think the real goal that they're trying to get at is not
How to harass people with the vaccinated who are not
how to
unvaccinated.
not get into the hospital. They're trying to make sure that their first responders are on the street, not in the hospitals taking up the places where they're supposed to be putting people in. Like if you're sending a cop to go to your house to go pick up someone that's sick, that's already injured and sick, these people are interacting with sick people,
Other people.
all
Correct.
the time.
Correct.
So you want to avoid your first responders from
Spreading.
from
So
not also spreading.
Okay, but
also
how do you
becoming part
avoid?
of-
But y'all not understand. The question is, you have to let them know that you're unvaccinated. How does that call work? You're unvaccinated. Well, we're not sending you to this call. Are we not sending you out
Well,
to
it gives
address
them the
these
choices.
issues?
What I'm saying is, if I don't have the information, I can make the proper choices.
They can make that decision.
So So you're telling me that if you choose to be on the force, so if I choose to be on the force, I don't want to tell you whether or not I'm vaccinated or unvaccinated. Then I forfeit my ability to say I'm not going on this call because I'm unvaccinated. I
But
mean,
you gotta also remember these are people that are public servants.
Right.
So these kind of information is things we want to know.
You have to know.
you may want to know, but it's not your right to know.
This like it's
How
like
is it?
it's
How
like
is it?
it's like
How do
knowing,
you need to know?
It's like your officer hiding the fact that
How
he's
do
a
I need
sex
to-
offender running around the
That's
streets.
not the same. That's not the same
We don't hire sex
situation.
offenders.
How
That's
how
correct.
does it affect you to know
I
my
can't tell
vaccination
you.
status? It doesn't matter.
How does my sex offender status affect
That's
you?
not the same. That's not the
I'm
same.
not doing that anymore.
That's apples and oranges.
I'm not
That's
doing
not
that
apples and
anymore.
oranges. I can
But
be
here's the thing.
unvaccinated
Here's the
and
thing,
go
too.
handle a call.
He's
and
also responding to a call where there are children who can't get vaccinated. So I think it's unfair. He's
if I'm not
responding to a
sick,
call.
wait. If I'm
No.
not sick,
No.
if I'm not sick,
He's responding to calls where there's elderly individuals that are going to need assistance. You understand what I'm saying?
But if I'm
so
not
they're
sick,
not because
how-
he's younger and he doesn't have, as a cop, he doesn't have any underlying issues and he thinks I could survive COVID if I catch it. What they're saying is, yes, that is true for him because he might be 35 and he's in great physical shape and he doesn't have asthma and he doesn't have that. But it's unfair to respond to a call where you're responding where there's a 65-year-old asthmatic or a 65-year-old that has respiratory problems. You have the ability to recover, but that person doesn't.
But-
so now you respond to that call, right? You
Right.
respond to that call. You give that elderly person or that person with the compromised system COVID, and they die. I think that's
so
selfish.
why are you saying it as if the person who got the vaccination shot can't give the elderly person COVID and they
Again,
die?
it's about numbers. It's about the
Okay,
reduction
I don't
that's
think
what I'm
I don't
vaccine.
think you've done enough homework, so we're gonna move on.
No,
from
but
that.
that's
We're
what
gonna
I'm
give you-
saying.
No, what we're
it's
saying
known,
is
it's known that if you have COVID, the COVID COVID vaccination, you can transfer it to
Okay,
people
so
still.
we're gonna give you some homework. The next episode of Diva
But
Court.
that's fact,
No,
though.
no, no. Here's
No,
what facts. Here's
but
what you're gonna come with. Facts.
This is my
with
last point.
numbers.
This is my last point because what I'm saying is, again, you're looking for 100%, and this for the millionth time. The world never works on 100%.
I'm looking for logic.
No, you're looking for
but the
100%
logic is-
logic.
I don't have COVID. How can I pass
100%.
COVID
No,
to an
you're
older
looking
person?
for 100%. What I'm saying is the fact that a vaccine can reduce transmission doesn't mean you won't transmit.
Right.
But the reduction
It's good enough when you're
good
talking about a
enough,
population of 300 million
especially
people.
when we need people to just be out there to service the street as public servants.
So if I don't have COVID and I'm unvaccinated,
But we don't
I am
know
in-
that you don't have COVID.
Correct.
but what I'm saying is that
Are you getting tested daily?
Are you going to allow me to test you? Because you already hate that I'm asking
Hello?
you what your
You
vaccination
don't wanna be
is.
I
tested
wouldn't
daily?
mind. I wouldn't mind you text. I wouldn't mind you.
You want to be tested daily?
No, that's the next battle line. That's the next battle line. You're going to tell me you're not
You're
going
gonna
to
stick something on my nose every day, but I don't want to tell you. I think it's less intrusive to have you know that I'm not vaccinated than it is for you to stick something up my nose every day. I
All
find
I'm
it more
saying-
intrusive to stick something up my nose every day
All
when I
I'm
come
saying
to
is
work.
that everybody should be tested. Period. Because if you have COVID, we don't know whether or not you'll be the one who is going to transfer it. So everybody should be tested. Everybody should wear a mask, and it is what it is.
That's not the solution.
That's
People
not
don't want to wear a
That's
mask.
not a bad idea.
No,
That's
no,
but
that's
that is
not
the
what.
safe solution.
But
Listen
they
to
don't wanna
me.
do that.
Have you seen the school board meetings where they're attacking people from the school board just because they're saying don't get vaccinated,
What-
don't
what I'm
vaccinate your
saying that
kids?
if you
But
require-
did you see those?
It's just like going to the concert.
No, to answer that
No,
question.
I know what you're talking about. But
So what do we say to the parents who say I'm not wearing a mask?
virtual learning. But anyway,
And when they say no, my child has to come in person because my psychiatrist says it's driving them crazy to look at a screen. Then what?
Then you put a mask on the child when they get there.
No. I don't want them to wear a mask,
You
and I
won't know
don't
because
want them
you
to
won't know.
virtually
We'll take
learn.
it off when they walk out the
What's
door.
your solution?
When they come in, they wear a mask. When they go out the door, they don't have to wear no
But
mask.
no, I don't want them to wear one in the
Then
building.
then it is what it is.
Oh, it is what it is for who? I have
But
rights.
no,
My
what
child
I-
has
I guess
rights.
my caveat is that they treat people who are vaccinated. Everybody needs to be treated the same. It's just like going to a concert and they say if you have a negative test or your COVID vaccination card. So if I have my negative test and I'm negative and I show up with the thought that I can take my mask off, but oh boy, who has a COVID vaccination whose symptoms don't show as bad as someone who could give somebody else could give them COVID. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, let's stop separating people. Let's stop.
No, we gotta
These
separate.
people are
We gotta
segmented
separate.
and these people are not.
I agree
Test-
with the separation.
If you're
All
going
right.
to do something,
Testing is
you need to be
important.
tested
The
and you need to
real
wear a
issue
mask.
is, are you willing to pay for all those tests? With
I got
your
it.
Boy, we don't even want to pay taxes. But like I said, this diva who don't want the roads fixed to his $3 trillion budget that Biden is about to push out is still too much.
And that's
we don't want
need
the
to talk about
roads
that because
or the bridges.
That stimulus
Yeah, we
thing,
don't want
it don't
that.
deal with some of
We don't want that.
It don't deal with a lot of stuff.
But I'm gonna tell you, on the next Diva Court, this diva is got an homework to do. She is going to get assignment that says, come with your numbers. Now you're gonna tell us what percentage of the people who have been vaccinated are still spreading the disease, and what percentage of the people who are not vaccinated is not spreading the disease.
How do you
And
test for
that's-
spreading?
I don't think
we count the
that's a good.
numbers. Hey,
the number
we give
is,
her that-
what is
she
the
got homework.
reduction? Is there a significant reduction between
What is the
spreading?
percent then? What is the percent
How you
likelihood?
tracking? How you
Because
tracking?
they
You
know
can
how
track
to
it. You can track it
spread
because
with
people are going to tell you that.
vaccinated.
That's how they know people who are vaccinated were still catching it. They know. They wouldn't have known that if they weren't tracking it.
Right, but what I'm saying is like spreading. I'm not saying that you couldn't catch it because you could catch it from anybody, but how do we know that?
No,
how do you track
you
spreading?
can measure the spread.
I guess if you're vaccinating your kids or not. then
Yeah,
you can
amongst
do like
people
that.
and how you interact, it's
Yeah.
just track and
So-
trace.
Okay.
So they have people.
It's
who
called
track
trace.
their
They
numbers.
used to trace.
Well, make sure y'all send me a text message. But
Oh, excuse me?
We'll allow your
Homework.
folder.
Homework.
With
She
no
got homework.
phone,
Send
you
the
can get a
homework.
She got
folder.
homework. Okay,
You can do a
she got
poster.
homework.
To that.
And on episode closing Diva Court, we'll drink to that. Y'all know. Oh, I'm sorry. before we close the show.
Hurry up now.
We got so excited about leaving this episode that we forgot to do our closing. The closing is, please look for our episodes every Wednesday. Subscribe.
Hey.
Find us on Spotify. Apple Podcasts. Google Podcasts.
Google us.
And be sure to catch our videos every Wednesday on YouTube. Subscribe. And as we say here on Diva Court,
We'll drink to
that. We got to drink to that.